Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate you being here, especially to talk about such a difficult topic.
Yeah.
So, you know, the obvious question, to witness a parent die, especially in, you know, what is possibly a horrible crime, what kind of effect can that have on a kid?
Yeah, so I think the first point we want to make is that children are really resilient and they do have the ability to heal and thrive following even horrific exposure to violence and interpersonal violence. And so, you know, in terms of kids' resiliency, they do have the ability, but they often rely on the support of the adults and protective caregivers around them to do that healing. And so it can have significant impacts. I mean, obviously, like you said, the death of a parent is significant. The death as a result of interpersonal violence and to witnessed potentially parts of that violence or violence leading up to that event could have significant impact.
You said in a situation like that, you know, kids often rely on the adults in their lives. In a situation where domestic violence is involved, you know, if a kid witnesses one parent mistreat another, how does that change the relationship, you know, with that parent who did the mistreatment?
Yeah, and it's very significant in terms of the exposure to domestic violence. One, because when the very parent who's supposed to be a source of safety and security then becomes the source of threat and danger, that can have both short-term and long-term impacts on a child. And so there's sometimes a misnomer, this idea that potentially if children don't directly experience violence against themselves, that that's somehow not as harmful. But what we know about exposure to domestic violence is that it has significant impact on children, or can. Again, knowing that kids can heal and thrive following those events, but that the impact can be significant.
What about when court becomes involved? You know, the possibility that, you know, you didn't just witness this horrifying event, but then you have to relive it possibly on a witness stand. That's got to be so tough for, you know, a 10-year-old.
Yeah, I think for some kids, yes. I think every child is different, and you know, kids can again be prepared to go to court, tell their story with support of the adults around them. For some kids, you're right, it could be really scary, and you know, it's our responsibility as systems to provide supports for kids in place as they go through that process. For other kids, you know, there may be some power in hearing their voice heard. So it's hard to say without thinking about the individual child and the context in which they're going to court.
Of course, and you say kids are strong and resilient. We're actually going to continue to have that conversation as well as take any questions you guys might have on Facebook during our commercial break, so certainly write in with those. For now, Lee and Lindsay, back to you.